Hello there guys, what is going on? Son of Chelsea back here again for my rational perspective on Chelsea 2, Fulham 0, a big 3 points in the race for Champions League football. In the end, it was really comfortable. It wasn't always comfortable, especially in that first half where I think most of the talking points will come from actually. But two Kai Havertz goals. He's actually been in brilliant form recently, and those two goals will not only do him a world of good for his confidence, but I think his movement was just once again so impressive, and his finishing too. I mean, I think it gives Tuchel a big decision to make for Wednesday against Real Madrid with that front three. Will Kai be in there, say, alongside Pulisic? You know, you've got Mason Mount, who was wonderful once again today. Hakim Ziyech had a really impressive performance, but Kai Havertz, I think, was a star performer today, and Edouard Mendy as well. I mean, some of the big saves he made in the first half to get another clean sheet. You know, there were some threats in this game, and I think that, as I'll get into, Thomas Tuchel made some big calls, I think, in that starting lineup, and took risks, I think, today with his formation, because it was a new formation, in particular in that first half. Before we get into any of that good stuff, hit that subscribe button. Also, do me a favor by hitting that like button. Helps out the channel and helps new people find it as well. But look at that starting lineup. Some surprises. I mean, Mason Mount in a double six, but I did say yesterday that I felt that instead of Gilmour playing, I felt that Mount would play instead and have someone like Jorginho or Kante next to him. Instead, we had what originally it looked like it was going to be a double six of Mason Mount and Billy Gilmour, a back three of Zuma, Silva, Christensen, Azpilicueta getting a rest, Chilwell and Reece James as the wing backs, Timo Werner, Kai Havertz and Hakim Ziyech as the front three. Now, I was a little bit concerned about this in terms of, as I say, Mason in that double six. I don't think it really suits his game. Once the game started, it was quite clear to me we weren't playing the usual 3-4-2-1 system. Tuchel had switched it up a bit, and as I'll show you on my screen now, the graphic that I think was the formation for a large period of the game until Hakim Ziyech came off and we brought in N'Golo Kante on, and then it switched back to the 3-4-2-1 that we've played all the time really under Thomas Tuchel. But it was like this. Billy Gilmour was sort of playing as the lone number six, and both Hakim Ziyech and Mason Mount were playing ahead of him, sort of as two number eights and floating number eights, and the front two was sort of Timo Werner and Kai Havertz. Very fluid, and it worked out brilliantly for Chelsea in the creation of the first goal in particular. But it was quite risky because Fulham, this was kind of their last chance saloon. I think tonight Chelsea have basically ended any drama surrounding relegation. I mean, I think that Newcastle fans, Brighton fans will be thanking Chelsea tonight, because I think that's basically sealed Fulham's fate for the rest of the season. They came out, they pressed high, they pressed the midfield. I was a little bit concerned in those opening minutes because they were pressing so high in their 4-4-2 formation that we were being a little bit outnumbered in midfield. But what I think Tuchel's risk of adding sort of an extra attacker onto the pitch, really not being as cautious, was because Fulham were committing so many men forward, there was space in behind to exploit, and that's exactly what we did with the first goal. It was a pretty simple ball over the top by Thiago Silva that found Mason Mount with a late run from midfield, and the way Mason took that ball down, absolutely incredible. I'm running out of words to praise Mason Mount. I mean, just to praise him. He is Chelsea's player of the season by a country mile. I mean, I think Edouard Mendy showed once again why he's a good contender for that title this year with some of the big saves he made. But Mason Mount, I mean, the way he takes it down, and then not only having that touch from a looping ball whilst running forward too, and then just having the vision and the class to play a perfect ball through to Kai Havertz, ghosting in. So delicate, Kai Havertz. I just love watching the way. It reminds me a little bit of Eden Hazard. Eden Hazard, you never felt that Eden Hazard was sprinting on the pitch. I feel similar when I'm watching Kai Havertz. Everything he does seems to be so elegant. He never looks like he's breaking a sweat. And just the coolness of that finish too on both occasions. But the first goal got Chelsea going. And a goal in the opening 10 minutes of this game when it looked a little bit shaky, and, you know, Fulham did have chances in that first half, was vitally important. I think as the half went on, you saw the pros and cons to Tuchel's formation. I am interested to see where this goes next season, because there have been several rumours that Tuchel may be switching to a 4-4-2 type formation, two strikers, and we saw that tonight at times with Timo Werner and Kai Havertz. I just think you saw the risk, and Billy Gilmour, I think, grew into the game. I think at times he did suffer because he was quite isolated with Mason and Ziyech ahead of him. I think it was a risky move, but I think in the end it paid off for Thomas Tuchel with the result. But it's just interesting to see, because he has opted for caution at times. He has opted for sort of two sitting midfielders, and I can understand that. But tonight, he tried something a little bit more daring, and I think it allowed the likes of Hakim Ziyech, who I think should be given praise tonight. I was really impressed with Ziyech's movement, but also his quality of passing when he got the ball out of his feet and could have scored a goal himself. That was one of the big chances in the first half. Chelsea had to make it 2-0 before the break. Ziyech, Mount, and Werner playing together, and then they've played together quite well. I think they've linked up together pretty well. We think about the goal against Man City in the FA Cup semi-final. This time it was Mount through to Werner, who then played it across the box to Ziyech, but it was a good save by Areola in the end. As I say, Mendy had to make some big saves in that first half, in particular the one straight before half-time, but Ademola Lookman, who was probably one of Fulham's brightest prospects and has been this season, he's a really exciting player. Larrett the ball, I mean, he had to save it. It was a save he should be making, but it was a strong save, and it just was that warning shot. And right at the end of the first half, it was a shot from a former Chelsea player, Aina, at the edge of the box, a deflection from Reece James, and Mendy is so impressive. I haven't seen many keepers do this, and he's done this several times this season. I think 3 occasions now. The Sevilla save, the Leeds save, and also this one where he's shifting in one direction but being able to steady himself and still get out a strong hand. You see many keepers done when there's a deflection like that with such a good strike from Aina. The deflection from James made it so much more difficult. There was a save early on from Robinson as well that Edouard Mendy had to make too. So Mendy has been the best signing of last summer. He really has. He has absolutely improved that area, and I think it says so much about the improvement in our goalkeeping area that he could win the Golden Glove at the end of the season. Him and Edison, neck and neck at the moment, and Mendy has just been brilliant, so he absolutely deserves praise. But in the second half, once again, there was that tense feeling that Fulham had to go for it in the second half, but once again, timing of the second goal was so important, and once again, Kai Havertz fully involved this time. It was a time that it was quite simple for Chelsea, I think, to break Fulham down because of their 4-4-2 formation and also trying to be a bit more attack-minded. It was at times it felt as simple as many of Chelsea's best opportunities sprung from a ball over the top from one of our centre-backs, usually Thiago Silva, and that finding Kai Havertz or finding Mason Mount, finding Hakim Ziyech, and Fulham's defence really being isolated, that back two being isolated, and that helped Chelsea sort of attacking four really get at them. But Kai Havertz, once again, a brilliant move. Timo Werner deserves a lot of credit. His pass through to Kai Havertz was absolutely perfect, and Kai, no messing around, another cool finish. There has been times, I think, in the Crystal Palace game where I criticised his finishing because at times I want players to larrup it when they're in the box, but the coolness of both finishes tonight shows a player who can score a lot for Chelsea, and it's something that I think he should improve next season. It's really exciting to see Kai ending this season strong. That's been really challenging for him, and as I say, a big question mark I think now for Wednesday. Does Kai Havertz start that game? Because he's had a brilliant day in front of goal today. I think he's been in really good form, and he's making those movements that Chelsea just want from a number 9. I mean, we really haven't had, and also that finishing ability too is something we've lacked, and that clinical edge really killed off the game. I mean, that moment there just sort of ended the game for Fulham because you felt like Fulham would have gone again, but I think the second goal for Chelsea 5 minutes into the second half really changed the dynamic of the game. It allowed Chelsea to sit back and basically ask Fulham to commit more men forward, which I think at times they really didn't do as much as I expected, and that was down to Chelsea. I think good pressing, hard work, just getting the job done, and I think overall, I think that Tuchel will be so happy with today because it wasn't the best performance. Like, it wasn't an amazing performance, but he's been able to rotate, rest some key players who've played a lot of football recently, get Kante, get about 25 minutes, wasn't it? Tammy Abraham coming on off the bench for Mason Mount, even, of course, Ben Chilwell coming off late for Marcos Alonso. So being able to rest some of those key players. Luckily, the game isn't on Tuesday. It's on Wednesday night, the massive game against Real Madrid. This is the best case scenario. A clean sheet, a comfortable win, some goals for Kai Havertz, some really good performances from Mason Mount, Hakim Ziyech, and I think Timo Werner deserves credit. And all round, it's the best performance. It's the best case result, really. Chelsea now 6 points clear of West Ham in 5th place, and it puts a lot of pressure on West Ham, who don't play till Monday night away to Burnley, to get a big result. And I believe tomorrow, of course, Man United are playing Liverpool. If Liverpool fail to win that game, or at least lose that game, we could be 7 points clear of them at the end of this weekend. So it puts Chelsea in a strong position. I think Chelsea should be securing top 4, and we're closer to that aim now. But I felt overall just a good night. Chelsea just getting the job done efficiently, and there was that concern for me pre-game where, you know, that mentality thing of playing against sides like Fulham, where you felt that Chelsea have dropped points under Thomas Tuchel with the likes of Brighton and the likes of West Brom, but tonight they got it absolutely spot on when they needed to, and we go into Madrid full of confidence in the Champions League second leg. Let me know your thoughts on the game in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you did enjoy it, hit that subscribe button and a notification bell so you never miss an upload, and I'll see you again.